What's going on, guys? White Fox 1225 here with another video, and today we're talking about the Banner Saga 2. So I bought the Banner Saga on Steam when it was on sale for $5, and I honestly have to say it's one of the better games I've played this year. I'm a huge fan. I thought it was a really emotional, really great RPG. So if you guys haven't played it, definitely recommend you pick it up. But today when we talk about the sequel for that game, which should be coming out early next year, but we'll get into all of that. I'm really just going to be talking about everything you need to know about, the sequel, and we actually have quite a bit, so it might be a longer episode. And then we're going to briefly touch on the new board game for Banner Saga a little later in the video, but I'll probably make a separate video on that. But for right now, let's talk about the sequel. So the sequel does pick up right where the first one left off, and it is kind of a cliffhanger. So you get to play right off there, and there's no gap or anything. The choices from your first game do matter, so it's going to use the memory from the first Banner Saga into the second one. So all your choices will matter. The characters that you had at the end of the game will still be there, and the ones who died won't, obviously. But if you haven't played the Banner Saga and you want to just play the sequel, don't worry, because you'll be able to do it, and you'll just have to pick a scenario and pick kind of what happened in the first game before you play the second. So on the Steam page for the second one, there's actually a trailer that you can watch, and in the trailer we see some familiar faces, from the first one. There's also a lot of new people that we haven't seen, because, obviously we're going to meet some new people in the second game. One that really stood out was the Horseborn. Now that's a new race coming to the game, and you can play as them in battle. They're going to join your caravan, some of them. They're kind of like half man, half like seahorse, not seahorse, more like an island horse is what they said, like an Icelandic island horse. It's what I read online. I have no idea what that is, but they're kind of bluish, and they really look like centaurs, half man, half horse. They're a nomadic and tribal race, so they kind of wander around, and they're pretty rare. But you can use them in combat, like I said, and they're going to be a little unique. So instead of the Varl, who are squares, or the humans who just take up one square in battle, the Varl take up four. These are going to be rectangular, so they're probably going to take up like 2 or 3 rectangles on the combat board, which is kind of interesting and new. They said in an interview that they move faster than any other race in the game, so it's cool that we got a new race and we're going to be able to try them out in combat, so pretty excited for that. So the number one thing they say they're trying to improve on in the second one is their combat. So they're going to try to make combat more interesting and kind of less repetitive, and they're going to do it through a couple of ways. So first off, they're working the story into events. So for example, some scripted events might occur. Characters in combat will have some, dialogue. So it's kind of gonna bring, the combat into the story, the story into the combat, because kind of in the first one there would be these awesome story scenes, and then you would just end up in this kind of voiceless, kind of generic combat scene, which wasn't that fun. Other than that, conditions can change during battle now, so for example, maybe a blizzard will come in while you're fighting, or more enemies will show up on the enemy side. It's just gonna you kind of switch things up, and like I said, make things just more interesting in general. Also, now your objective in a battle isn't always just to kill all the enemy players. Sometimes there's going to be objectives, like we saw it a couple times in the first one, where you had to kill one person or one thing. Maybe you have to capture something now or something like that. There's just going to be more objectives than just killing everyone of all your enemies, just wiping them out and having some of yours left. That's going to be changed a little, and I think it's going to make battles a lot more just better and more diverse. Characters now can have a lot more unique abilities, so there's 12 new abilities added to the game, and you can also take a second ability for your characters, which just makes them more versatile and useful when you're playing. So also the war system has been improved, which I think was probably the thing that needed the most improvement. So now it kind of explains your options better and makes things a little bit more transparent and just easier to understand. So hopefully the battles and the wars will be a little, more fun and a little less confusing, because when I first got to them, I was, honestly pretty confused. Last thing, the talent system has been introduced. So the talent system, you can kind of put perks into certain characters, kind of like you could do with maybe Skyrim or ESO, to a lesser extent obviously, but you can kind of put perks onto certain characters to make them just, better in combat and more useful in battle. They said there's going to be more strategic battle boards, and that permanent loss of character will be more important. Now, I'm not completely sure what that means. Obviously, by more interesting battle boards, they mean maybe more unique locations, cooler, textures and stuff like that. Just something, because a lot of times when we got in battle in the first one, it was the same board we've seen 5 times. So hopefully that won't happen again in the second one. Moving on, guys, the supply mechanic has been improved a lot. So if you played the first one, you know towards the end it was really hard to manage your resources without running out and having a lot of people die. So that's been fixed in the second one. That will not happen again. And the renown system has been improved too, so you'll more easily get renown and know how you're going to get renown from helping your caravan. And also, like I said, supplies will not run out as quickly, and you won't really have to choose between improving your characters or buying more supplies to keep people alive. You'll be able to control your caravan better, so you can train clansmen to make them into warriors, and things like that, tell them to hunt and gather, and just really control what people are doing better than you could in the first one. So now for the soundtrack, Austin Winatory, I think is his name. He's going to be making the soundtrack again. So if you like the music in the first one like I did, I really love that soundtrack. He's going to be making it again. It's actually already made. So hopefully the music will be just as good as the first one. Art-wise, they're making some more animations and like cutscenes and stuff like that. If you played the first one, kind of during the dialogue, they just flash back and forth between the characters, which I really didn't mind. But they're gonna have some more animated scenes in the second. And that's pretty much it, guys, for the video. So this game is going to be released hopefully Q1 2016 for the PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Now, if you didn't play the first one on the console, it is coming to the console January 12th, and it's also coming to the PlayStation Vita, sometime in 2016. So a lot of cool things happening for the Banner Saga. There's also a board game called the Banner Saga Warbands that successfully got funded on Kickstarter. So you guys can't fund it right now because, like I said, it ended. But hopefully you can buy it when it actually comes out, and I'll probably do a video explaining the gameplay and stuff of the board game, which is something new for the channel. So hopefully have that video up pretty soon. I hope you guys learned something today about the sequel. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. If you liked the video, give it a like. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, it means the world to me, and I'll see you in the next one.